Okay. I don't know. I call that the perversity of inanimate objects. So come on back. I don't know what happened, why it cut off. It's kind of like driving through the mountain and having your phone drop. But anyway, we're back. I was talking about my podcast. So my podcast is going to be called Soul Stories. The first guest is going to be Emran Meyer. We're also going to have Olivia Hussey, who is another contributor to the balance of the earth. Amazing lady. She was Zeffirelli's Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. We're going to have um, lots of amazing people. We've got Danielle Delaney lined up, and she's contributed to the planet and to, I would say, mental health. She has taught a lot of people about trauma, and also we're going to have the most um, toughest, amazing, undefeated mixed martial arts champions on. We're going to have AJ McKee and his father, um, Antonio, and how they got to where they got to. So that's just the beginning of the lineup. So that's what it's going to be about. Okay. Any other questions about stuff? I'm sorry about that dropped call, but that's what happens, I guess, on this planet. So, um, anybody that just joined, we were talking about COVID and how you might protect yourself from COVID. There's a whole Instagram TV I did on it called The Natural Treatment and Prevention of COVID. And just of note that in the beginning, my patients were getting COVID and I had to treat them. And since I figured out the protocol and put everybody on protocol, no one has gotten it. So that's pretty amazing. You can find it on Shopify or call my office, 310, I'm sorry, 818-591-7600. And hi, Bob. So, and then of course everybody's worried about, is this surge really, as bad as they say it is? Well, it's bad in that the numbers are very high and they're higher than they were, and they're crowding the hospitals and they're worried about that. So we need to do our duty. We need to do what we need to do, which is what they've been telling us to do all along. We need to isolate. We need to wear masks. We need to stay separated from each other physically, okay? Not socially, but physically. And don't create these super spreader events by attending weddings with lots of people with no masks, and then likely you're going to get exposed, and then you're going to go, or someone there will go and somehow expose an older person, and then they're going to go down. So let's not do that. So that's, we're up to 8,500 cases. So just follow the rules. Follow the rules. Be a good human being. Let's do it together. Okay? Trying to read your questions. So, another thing that people want to know about often is, how do they increase their immunity? I alluded to this before the phone dropped, and that is, first of all, the COVID package, which you can find on my Shopify. Listen to my Instagram TV on how to prevent COVID naturally. And I also did another Instagram TV with Richard Green, who is a pretty famous guy, and we talked all about COVID at that phase in time. And it's interesting how the story is really the same. It's just a matter of us doing what we're supposed to be doing. So the supplements, again, somebody's asking about the supplements again. Quercetin is the most important supplement with zinc. Quercetin with zinc. Quercetin opens the zinc channels, allows the zinc to get into the cells, which kills the virus. Vitamin D. Very important. Most people admitted to the hospital with COVID have low vitamin Ds. So easy to fix. Come on. You can do this. You can find vitamin D. You want to take vitamin D with K, by the way, because K tells the calcium, go to the bones or go to the teeth, but no place else. Because you've heard of people laying down calcium in their arteries or laying down calcium someplace where it's not supposed to be. So you want that usher for your calcium, which is the vitamin K. Okay. So other ways to increase your immunity, apart from supplements, which we talked about, is exercise. And the number one thing is attitude. And someone asked me before, how do you look so young? It's attitude. You got to be positive. Despite what the world throws at you, it's really not about that. It's about how you're going to respond to it. So if you're going to respond to it with a panic every time, you're going to wear down your immune system. You're going to get wrinkles. So try to respond to it in a positive way. Try to keep your attitude, your frame of mind healthy. And that can be helped with exercise and meditation and breathing, just simple breathing. I like to teach my patients about breathing. You breathe, I call it Buddha belly breathing. I'll get back to your vitamin C question. And you put your hand on your tummy. You breathe in through your nose for a count of 5, and you breathe out through your mouth for a count of 6. And then you keep doing that. In for 5, out for 6. Do it with me. So go in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you're a meditator, keep meditating. You know what you're doing. But if not, and you're stressed, do this breathing. Honestly, it sounds like silly, but it's been studied. And just that 5 minutes of that kind of breathing, what I just showed you, can increase your neurotransmitters, slow down your brain waves, slow down your heart rates, reduce your stress chemicals in your body for 6 hours. 5 minutes for 6 hours. So that's a pretty good trade-off. So let's do that. Okay? And I find myself getting stressed out, and I do that, and I just feel better from those few breaths. Somebody wanted to know about vitamin C. How do you take high doses of vitamin C safely? Well, vitamin C, you can actually, the only thing about vitamin C, if you're kidney stone prone, you've had kidney stones, or there's kidney stones in your family, you want to be very careful, because high vitamin C can create oxalate crystals in your urine, and then the calcium will form around that like snowflakes on a piece of dust, and then you'll get kidney stones. So you don't want to do that. But you can take vitamin C to the point of gut tolerance, and it doesn't really hurt you, but unless you constantly do it, and meaning if you take enough vitamin C, you'll start pooping too much. So your body will tell you that's enough, slow down. And I don't know that that's really helpful or has been shown to be helpful to take super big doses of vitamin C. I do believe in vitamin C. I do think that it helps your immunity, but I think 500 to a gram twice a day is sufficient. So that's the answer to that. How to change bad eating habits. Well, we got to do can-do people. We got to be can-do people. You just got to do it. Don't eat carbs. Don't eat refined carbs. Don't eat industrial raised meat. Do eat as much fruits and like 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Watch Game Changers if you question me. It's on Netflix, and it tells you about a vegetarian diet versus a non-vegetarian diet. So vegetables have been used to treat cancer. If you go on a vegan diet, I mean, all my patients with cancer, I put them on a vegan diet. Why? To get away from the industrial raised meats and the cytokines and the things that cause DNA changes in your body. The vegetables clean you out. They clean you out. They give you antioxidants. They give you chemicals that fight bad things and help you lose weight, help you go to the bathroom more easily. And you just need to do this. I mean, you've heard this before, but listen, because this is how you can change your eating habits. And once you do it for a month, you're not going to want to go back because you're going to feel so good and so clear and so energetic. So eat lots and lots of fruits and vegetables, drink pure water, exercise, don't eat the refined carbohydrates, the sweets, the sugar, or the industrialized meat. I mean, that's the answer. And just be a can-do person. And let's get this party going. Get healthy. We got to get healthy. 2021 is coming, and we need to be ready together. Okay? Hi, Kayla. Okay, so what else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about how to keep your gut healthy. 70-80% of your immune system lives in your gut. I also did an Instagram TV on healthy gut, healthy life. I believe all things begin in the gut. So why? Because we're all born with a thymus, which is a gland that is around in here. And by the time we're toddlers, that thymus goes away completely. And all the cells in the thymus move out and move into your gut in these long chains or colonies called Peyer's patches. And in those Peyer's patches are the T cells and the immune cells that are our immunity. So if your gut is not healthy, not balanced, what's going to happen to your immunity? It's not going to be so good. So you want to make sure that you're taking a probiotic. Again, that you're not eating too much sugar, because then you encourage the opportunists of the bad bacteria to move in and make your gut imbalanced. And you'll notice, because you'll get bloated. You'll be bloated and you'll go, my tummy sticks out. It always sticks out. Well, it sticks out because it's swollen and you have bad bacteria in there that are making methane and hydrogen gas. And if you eat well and you don't feed those bacteria and you take a good probiotic and fiber, which are prebiotics, then your gut is going to get healthy and you're going to get healthy too. And the other thing about that is 70 to 80% of your neurotransmitters, which is the juice that makes you feel good or bad or crummy, comes from your gut. So again, gut balance. It's all about gut balance. Listen to my Instagram TV show on healthy gut, a happy life. You need tips on autoimmune disease? Yes. Autoimmune disease probably originally came from a gut problem, a leaky gut problem. If we eat incorrectly and we eat too much carbohydrates and we do get this dysbiosis or imbalance, you get swelling in your gut. And the cells in your gut need to be, they're made to be right next to each other, like tight. There's even tight junctions. They call them tight junctions, like the little lines on my hand that hold the cells together. But if you've got that imbalance going on and you get inflammation, you get what? Swelling. If you fall down and skin your knee, it swells. If you eat improperly, you get an imbalance in your gut and your gut lining swells. It's only one cell layer thick. And then the food, which is supposed to go through the brush border, go through the cells to be processed and released into the bloodstream, still does, but will go straight through into your bloodstream. And that lining is meant to not let that happen and to keep bad things out. But then bad things just freely go in and out once you get that leaky gut. So, what do you have to do? You have to fix that leaky gut. But I'm back to autoimmune disease. When you get that happening, that leaky gut, or let's say you eat tons and tons of gluten, gluten can cause this effect and trigger autoimmune disease. What really triggers it are the bacteria in your gut. Provitella is one of them, certain bacteria, Klebsiella. And when those toxins, those gram-negative toxins, get into your bloodstream through that leaky gut, it starts triggering your body. It says inflammation, something's going on, and then it'll trigger autoimmune disease. Now, can you reverse it? Well, you can certainly help it a lot. You might not be able to make it go entirely away, although I have seen it go entirely away, but you can make it way better so it's no longer symptomatic if you balance the gut, eat correctly. As I said, don't put in the refined carbohydrates, don't eat gluten or bread, and then you're going to help reverse that autoimmune disease. You're going to reduce the inflammation. The other thing that I find really helps with autoimmune disease is a very high grade curcumin. I have one in my Shopify store that is lipophilic. The whole idea is to get a one that creates a very high level of free curcuminoids in your bloodstream. So it either needs to be lipophilic or water soluble. And those are the two kinds that I use. And you can get them from my office or you can get them from my store. But that's going to help reduce the inflammation of the autoimmune disease. That and fish oil helps a lot too. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a question. It went off the page. How do I feel about CBD? Well, I'm in favor of CBD. There's so many different ones and kinds and avenues and ways to do it. So you gotta figure out what's best for you. If you need it for sleep, there can be forms that are very helpful for sleep. If you need it for pain, that's when I recommend it for my patients. I find there are forms that are very, very helpful. I generally recommend the gummies just because they work. I don't really like the idea of gummies, but it seems to be the most effective. So I maybe because they're chewing it, I'm not sure, but it does, or maybe it's just the company's gummies that I use. But gummies, there's drops, there's edibles, there's all kinds. But it's a good medicine and can be used for a variety of things: pain, anxiety, sleep. So I'm in favor of it for sure. Theracumin, I love theracumin. It's the only water soluble curcumin, and that's what I take personally. But if I didn't take that, I'd take the one that I have in my Shopify, which is lipophilic, because both of those get high levels of free curcuminoids in your bloodstream and also cross the blood-brain barrier. So that's the other thing. How do we keep our brains healthy? So you want a really good curcumin that can cross the blood-brain barrier to keep your brain healthy. You want fish oil, and you want to exercise for sure. It's shown that exercise increases your BDNF. BDNF is brain-derived neurotropic factor. Turns out that's probably the most crucial element of keeping your brain healthy and active. It turns out if your BDNF is high enough, even if you have plaques and neurofibrillary tangles, you may not even express symptoms from that if you can keep your BDNF high enough. That's through exercise and something that I found out not that long ago. Coffee fruit. Coffee fruit. Not the coffee bean, but the fruit that comes around the coffee. It turns out what we've been throwing away for centuries is actually the most useful thing for our brain. It increases your BDNF, which is a brain-derived neurotropic factor. It's a messenger RNA. And that, if you remember from biology, DNA is made from messenger RNA, and it increases your brain cells. It increases your brain plasticity in the areas of your brain that show up with Alzheimer's disease. I love it. I take it every morning because I want my brain to continue to be plastic. I want to continue to have neuroplasticity and think fast and have new ideas and experiment stuff, So definitely, I take coffee fruit. So there's a couple different kinds that I know of. Neuromaster has one, and there's a company called Organofee that has another kind that might be better for people that are very sensitive to caffeine, because there's no caffeine in it, just the coffee fruit. And there may be others, but you can ask Dr. Google. Any other questions? You guys just want me to talk at you? Come on, this is for you. I want you to ask the questions that you're really worrying about, because we're moving from 2020, thank God, to 2021, and we need to be equipped. We need to be equipped so we can move together as a unit. So we have a lady that was in a car accident, and she has a lot of pain, and she's had to take pain medicine. She hates being on them. So she tried CBD, and it worked really well for her. Yeah, very good. Absolutely. I mean, I have people on narcotics for pain. I put them on CBD to get them off narcotics. So thank you for saying that. That's a very important point. Yeah, you can. You can get off narcotics with CBD. It is really good for pain. Just make sure the one you're buying is for pain, because they have different ones that then go to a licensed store, a licensed hot store, I guess. so that you can be sure you're going to get a higher quality. Okay. They also have it topically. They have good topical CBDs, and they work pretty well too, I understand. I don't know that there's a supplement for floaters, but there are supplements for your eyes. Probably the best supplement for your eyes, which may help because it does treat your retina and might reduce the amount of sloughing, is astaxanthin. Astaxanthin. Astazanthin. And it actually comes from a type of seaweed, believe it or not, but it's lipophilic, and it's an extremely powerful antioxidant that is very, very good for your eyes. And anything that's good for your eyes is, guess what, good for your brain. So that's a very good one to take for the eyes, and will also help your brain, which we alluded to before. If you're on a budget, what's the best supplements to buy? Well, actually, funny you asked that. When I created my line, Randall Wellness line, my goal was to create supplements that were the same high quality for less price and twice the number of pills or quantity of whatever it is that we were making. So Randall Wellness has very, very high quality and very, very reasonable prices. If you're saying, if I just have to pick one supplement, what should I take? That's very hard to say because it kind of depends on you, But I believe, everybody should probably be on a multivitamin because there's holes in our diet. And vitamin D for sure. And right now, the quercetin and the zinc. Here's somebody that has IBS and it's cut out gluten, which helped, and less sugar. And he wants to know about probiotics. Okay. So we are getting more and more intelligent about what probiotics should be, what bacteria should be in a probiotic. And the most prevalent one should probably be Lactobacillus rhamnosus, also Lactobacillus casei and reuteri, however you say that one. You want to see both Lactobacillus and Bifidobacter represented in a probiotic, and it'd be good, like mine, which is called Synbiotic, which you can find on my store or my office, has the prebiotics right in it. So in other words, it gives it the substrate to live, to hang on, and gives you the probiotic at the same time. So, and you want to see, in the millions or billions of numbers, depending on your symptoms. So hopefully that was helpful. Yeah. It's interesting about probiotics. If you take a really good probiotic, it actually only lasts inside you for 2 weeks. Is that wild? They have no mechanism of hanging on or staying or sticking, which tells you, when we evolved, we didn't really need that because we were constantly repopulating ourselves from the earth. So that we were what the earth was. What was outside is what was inside. But now we live in 4 squares. We don't live like that. So we have to put it back, in terms of a probiotic. But the sporebiotics, which are more dirt related, are also quite healthy for your gut. So it's another thing to look into. So my preference, what I take, is the symbiotic. So I take the probiotic that has all the bacteria that we've studied to find that really belong in there, the one I created. And it also has the prebiotics in the same pill. And it just keeps my gut very, very healthy. One way you can tell about your gut, actually, I did a whole thing on this on Instagram, where I had a contest where I asked people to show me their tongue. It was kind of a joke in a way, but in another way, it's not. Because if any of my patients know, ask them. Every time they come in, I say, let me see your tongue. And that comes from Chinese diagnosis, because your tongue will reflect what's going on in your gut or the rest of your body too. But, if it's nice and smooth and pink and there's no coat on it, chances are your gut is pretty healthy. If it's all red and cracked and has a white foamy coat on it, chances are you got a gut imbalance. So look in the mirror and look at your tongue. I would say, okay, I'm going to show you now. Try to match Dr. Randall's tongue. That's what you want to do. So it's all homogeneous, it's all pink, and it doesn't have any coat on it. Your tongue is so white. Well, probably, Brandy, you better stop eating sugar and carbs and bread. Alcohol can do it too, and get on a good probiotic. If your tongue is so white, the other thing you could have is yeast. So, and the thing that feeds yeast more than anything is sugar. Okay. So, what about, what's the most important factor going forward into 2021? I would say attitude. And we got to think of all the people, even though we can't like be right next to each other, we got to think about us as a human race, that we're all one together, that we're all one together. And if we can have that good attitude, if we can all have that good attitude together at the same time, they've shown that this changes the magnetics of the earth. Actually, I love this. It's in my book, actually, but our thoughts are out here. We think our thoughts are all in our head, and they're not. Our thoughts are actually outside of us. So they're projections of energy. Okay? So that's been measured. And if you take all the numbers of people on the planet, if you get a critical mass of numbers of people, even as many people as watch the Super Bowl, for instance, and they're all thinking about the Super Bowl, go, 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 whatever they're thinking, or Christmas. Like at Christmas, a lot of people are, thinking the same things and praying and giving thanks or whatever. They've measured it from satellites. It actually changes the electromagnetics of the earth in a beneficial way. And we get beneficial changes in the earth's atmosphere, in the growth of the planet, in the ozone layer, and things like that. So let's get it together, people. We're going into 2021, and we need to come together as a people in the same place. They use this word collective consciousness or the one mind, which sounds all woo-woo, but it really isn't when you think about the fact that we do this all the time. We're just not aware that we're doing it. So let's try to develop a good attitude in going forward. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine together. Even though we can't be together in the way we'd like to right now, we're still together. We're together energetically in that one mind space. And that's what's going to make this a better place to be. Okay? Well, thank you. I love you too. Okay, well, we're almost out of time. If anybody has a last minute question, that was kind of my finale. Come together, good attitude, join together in the one mind, in the cosmic consciousness, the one God. And that's how we're going to make this thing work. Help the planet, help each other. Think of the souls, all the souls on the planet, and be there for them. Be there for them in a way where we can move forward together. Okay. I love you guys. I'll see you next Friday. We're going to do it again. Okay?